Ba-da-da! We are live.
I thought you were going to do the old theme tune then.
God, I had to remember I went there in my head. How are we all? Back once again. We're already getting trolled. It's been almost 2 weeks since our last confession.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
But we did do 3 in the space of, a week and a half.
I still think this evens out to weekly now.
Yeah, exactly. We're going for the averages.
Yeah. So I've just about made it as well. It was going to be a Dan and Jake special, but yeah, I've just about.
Exactly. Nobody wants that.
I think they do. I think, yeah.
So Beebs is back in the palace of the time horse. You can just see its legs poking out there. So,
yeah.
Well, since you're the one that's overseas, Beebs, where are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, back with Fibonacci for a couple of days. Rushed job. I'm leaving my. We're on video, aren't we?
Yeah, we're on video. There he goes. He's even got a little ancient Greek pizza oven in the corner there. Nice.
So I'm leaving my main blue Roadmaster here, and it's going to be replicated and copied.
It's going to be cloned.
Yeah, cloned. So where's my other ear gone? For a number of them orders, and so we're going to get it exactly the same. Because when this was done, it was an accidental. It wasn't a signature model or anything. It was just a custom thing I had them do, and it's turned into a thing now, sort of accidentally. So half the guitar was built by Gabor, which is no longer there, and the other half was Chubba. So it's been so long that I think it would behoove us to get it, exactly right. So Chubba's going to go and just take all the measurements and get it bang on, and for a run of them to be done for next year. So yeah,
nice.
Leaving it. And yeah, there was another prototype earlier this year that was done, and yeah, made some slight tweaks and designs, little changes as well, like putting the headstock access at the top now as well, which is going to be game changing for when the
tweakers.
Seasons change. Yeah, when the seasons change. So yeah, I'm back out here doing that, and some just filming some stuff. Yeah.
I thought you'd just gone out there for a setup or something. That's the most J-Lo shit ever.
Oh, I'm not going to say that I haven't done that.
I've done that.
But you see,
it's always been fun.
But it's like 30 quid for a ticket for Ryanair, so it's so cheap that it's criminal. But it's just so affordable that it is cheap. There was one time it was literally cheaper to bring it over here for a setup than it was to go to most sort of southern based techs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's insane. But yeah, this is my sort of main Fibonacci, or one of my main Fibonaccis. So it's become a model now, which is kind of cool.
It's going to be the Fibonacci answer to the silver sky, the silver hive.
So yeah, I picked up one of these things. The sort of
is that the? Oh, is it DJI? Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I see that one a lot, and then I see the other. The I guess it's the newer Rode, which looks like the same thing. With a little blue light on it. I see them everywhere. Did you get that on its own, or I've seen? Have you seen the DJI it's like some weird vlogging camera, and you sort of press a button and it spins around. But I've seen a lot of people using that.
It's just a transmitter and a receiver plugged into the XLR then, and it's been great. So I've been filming some videos while I've been out here doing some lessons and stuff, and it's fantastic, really, really good. I think you can get them in like a kit with two of these and that, but it's half the price for just the one, and I'm only ever mostly going to be using the one anyway. So surprisingly affordable and surprisingly effective. As I was kind of skeptical because I've used labs before, and that where the sound is not not as great, but I think it's probably more than serviceable. So
nice. Jake, you've
Other
been
than
away, I guess. Well, not away, but I don't think you were here. Were you here last time? Can't remember.
No,
I feel like I've not seen you in a little bit. So what's going on?
Yeah, I had a few
with Yao?
shows. Not a lot really. I've got some weird gigs coming up, which I probably shouldn't talk about yet, just in case there's a hitch. But got a little residency coming up, which will be fun. Maybe we can talk about it afterwards. But yeah, apart from that, I've just been away for the sort of Sunday, Monday weekendy thing, Muso weekend, and yeah, it's been pretty chilled out. Not really much to report, I'm glad to say.
Nice.
good stuff. Yeah. So
Me,
what
on
about
the
you,
other
Dan?
hand,
We had a nightmare.
yeah. So been like fairly. It's only like it's just been 2 dep gigs this weekend, which doesn't sound like a lot. However,
2 what? Dep
2 dep gigs. Yeah. One on bass yesterday, which I didn't have any time to look at it until the day because of the other gig. But the other gig is the one that's caused the most strife. Of course, like on the night it was sort of fine, but I think the only reason it was sort of fine is because I'm very diligent and I kind of came in over prepared. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Scout.
Well, it's like if the people that are running the show are not perhaps that kind of like on it, it's probably bad form to be like, oh well, if they don't care, why should I? But I have a bit more pride than that. You know what I mean? And it's like me and the bass player sort of like buddied up. I played on a gig with him before, and he's like super on it. But man, it was I got triple Columbo'd. The Columbo's isn't there like a Columbo statue in Budapest?
Triple
There
Columbo.
is. There is.
Yeah. So sorry, this is my terminology. So Columbo,
There's a
he'll
big
be going on
life-size
about
statue of
something,
Columbo.
and then he'll be like, one more thing. Did you say one more thing?
Yeah, it's one more thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, what's the granddad from Jackie Chan Adventures? Because I get them both mixed up.
I don't
That
know
is
that.
also. That is just one more thing or something, isn't it?
Yeah. Either one of them.
It's
I
the
might
Steve
have
Jobs
Nelson
Apple
Mandela.
thing as well. At the end of the keynote, when they're introducing the new product, it's one more thing, and then it's like the iPhone
Right.
or whatever.
So anyway, yeah, one more thing, Columbo. Got triple Columbo'd on this gig. I said yes to this gig, and then it was like, oh, after the fact. By the way, one more thing. We've got to do an acoustic set. Right, okay. And then it was like, oh, here's the set, and all the songs were in like mad keys, like standard stuff. Like Don't Look Back in Anger was in A instead of C. Summer '69 was in C instead of D. Brightside was in C.
Is this the acoustic gig?
No. This is just across the board.
Because that's going to say, if it's acoustic, that's not so bad. Like,
although Summer '69 was acoustic, and trying to do the da-da-da, like from C to G, it's fine, but it's just weird. It's just not. It's just not like. It's just not comfortable to try and sort of make it come out. So anyway, that's 2. Oh, the third one was like the day before the gig. Oh yeah, and we tuned to E flat. Not that it's a big deal, but then it's like I had to check the set and be like, so if it says "Sit Down" by James is E, am I playing E and it's actually E flat, or am I playing it in F so it comes out in E? Do you know what I mean? To like counteract the tuning.
Yeah.
It's just like all this fucking small print, man. Just like madness. And I'd even said in like the group chat, I was like, "Oh man, what a mad gig already!" Because it's just like it was just these things after the fact, and I think he thought I was like criticizing the organisation, and then he started, kind of telling me how to tune my guitar to E flat. It's like, fuck, I know how to tune my guitar to E flat, mate. But the thing is, I hadn't worked with these guys before, so in my head, if you're doing a dep gig and you've not worked with anyone before, whatever it is, it's almost like a bit of an audition scenario, as in like, you don't know, even if the guys that are running the show or the whatever is perhaps not who you want to be working with, or you might not say yes to it again. You might meet other musicians there, and it's just, it's you're just always on the. I mean, Jake will know this from like depping on shows and stuff, but it's like that's your first impression. That's your chance to be like, yeah, I can do what you're asking me to do. Do you know what I mean? But so there was all that. I'm like, right, fuck's sake. So I've got to like cram all these gigs. So then, in order to save myself some hassle, I went and bought one of these. The Digitech Drop. I was like looking to see, if is there anything else that's just like cheaper that does it. And I know I've got the Helix and all that, but it's just enough. I'd have to like set all that up for like gigs. I just leave it here for like making stuff. So that would have taken time. So this was the option I went with. Anyway, got to the gig with so nothing had even started yet. Got to the gig, ready to like, right, we just need to make sure acoustic stuff's working. I just took the Katana and just put it in acoustic mode because there wasn't a lot of space, and I was like, well, that just solves the problem. I haven't gigged my acoustic in quite a while. Plugged it in, nothing, no battery in it. So I'm like, fuck. So the bass player, Matt, shout out to Matt. He was like, oh well, he had a battery in his bass, and he's like, oh, I use it in like passive mode anyway. So he gave me the 9-volt out of his bass, so that fixed that. Then I put this on my pedal board, and it's like, it was one of those, what is that? I've got like a pedal power 2 or whatever. Nothing was happening with this either. It just wouldn't come on.
Nope.
So then, because I think is it like 230 amps or something, and it's like
It's
normal
a
9-volt
weird
200. Because
I
it worked
always
here,
use
it worked
the
at home.
original.
Like it's not a faulty device. It worked at home because I've got like a little single, like plug, and it was fine. I was like, sweet, that's going to do the job. And then I get there, and the guy that runs the band was like asking me if I'm all right with the stuff, and he said, "Oh, it's some mad keys." I was like, "Yeah, I was like, I've got this to sort of bail me out." And he said, "Oh, that's great as long as it works." I'm like, "Why did you say that? Why say that?" Anyway, so I had to like umbilical cord this. I had to take one of the little, daisy chain things or whatever off my pedal board and like umbilical cord this off the bass player's tuner, and then get 2 jack leads because it needed to go at the beginning of the chain and it wouldn't reach. So these massive jack leads tucked away to get it at the beginning, just to use this to play Brightside in C.
It's like if that pedal show was remotely realistic.
Exactly.
You'd be doing
Absolute
this
pedal
thing.
shocker.
Yeah.
That pedal nightmare.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what this episode is. That pedal nightmare.
But to be honest, it did proper save me, and I did end up like kind of putting it through its paces because the gig was like kind of fine. I was just, the bass player's worked with him before, and he's like, he knows the deal. So he was just like, look, I know what it is. Just do what we need to do. But the piano player, keys player, who like runs the shop, came in doing Don't Look Back in Anger. So I've got this set down like -3 to just play it in C, and then I don't have to change anything. I can just play all my cowboy shapes, do the solo where I normally do it. Don't have to learn anything. Somewhere in between his transpose button and the key he was playing it in wasn't C. And I'm sort of like, the bass player's like, what the hell's going on? And he's like trying to find it. It comes out in G flat.
Oh, nice.
Which, given that G flat plus the tuning, means they've done it in F. Which is so far away. So this was like -6. And then trying to like play, it did not like open C chords at -6. So single lines were fine.
That is hilarious, mate.
But I was like, it's like trying to quick.
You've got some really avant-garde, crazy shits going on. Like, no, the Digitech drop pedal is amazing. It's probably one of the best. It's still rock solid, even though it's getting on a bit now in terms of the the feel and the sound of it. And I think the same guys that worked on that did the algorithms in the Helix stuff.
Right.
I think. In the polycapo in the Helix. But yeah, even the Digitech drop, as good as it is, if you take it down beyond 3 semitones and 4 absolute max, it starts to fall apart. It can only go because it's just not, obviously, even if you've got a guitar and a baritone and tuned it down, and played, it's still not going to sound right, is it? Let's face it. So,
well, it's in context. So, by the time I'd finished with this, I was playing a C chord in E flat, so it's already lower, and then this was like down 6. So it's basically like playing. It's like playing like a like a little C-shaped F chord, but down an octave, I think is what was coming out. And man, that gig was hard because the keys were like quite loud, and there was just so much low end everywhere because of the tuning and the keys that it was just
I had an idea for a video about virtual, digital capos and like posing the question like, is it kind of cheating? Because you sometimes get wry looks from certain other musicians, but there are certain, I really will die on this hill that certain, I would always transpose and revoice and, for things that are stylistically appropriate for that are not guitar driven. But if something is guitar driven with open string riffs, you bet your fucking life I'm going to be using a transpose pedal, because I like to play the riffs correctly and the parts correctly. So
and there's certain things that you can't, like, it didn't get played, but Sex on Fire was on the list, and that's got the low open E for the intro riff, and then it's got that clashy high E bit for the chorus. So it's like, what are you going to do? Tune both your E's down to D, and then it's like, it suits a purpose. It suits a purpose.
If you've got to go down, like, if you're going to need to go either down half a step, a tone, or up half a step, maybe, I think it's absolutely fine to do that. There's nothing like, I don't think there's anything sort of cheating. Or
if you just sat there and dialed this in on every song that you played, and then you only play in G. You know what I mean? Like every song. Yeah.
But there are some tunes though, like for a lot of the Motown soul kind of stuff, if you're doing any of that stuff in mad keys, it's not like it really matters in terms of the like it's
not that's not a guitaristic thing, is it? It's more like you're just doing little chunks and stuff, which is fine. And I would just play it in a different key. That's not, I can play in keys. It's just time constraints and like trying to and
the impossibility of trying to revoice and rework certain things when you're trying to play guitar instrument specific parts is some of it.
Well, think about like bluegrass guys. They like the kind of open G sort of like major pentatonic Y bluesy runs and stuff like that with all the open strings. So
it's the open strings that are the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the open strings, and it's the sort of the sort of visceral resonance of the way certain parts feel to play. That's quite nice. And if you've got to kind of contort yourself into things that are, then it's like I'm not playing the song, and it's like it's not as fun. So I would rather, given the quality that the drop works at, and you're just moving a tone, I think that's fine.
It's I was saying this to someone else. It's like one of those things where, this is not sponsored, by the way, obviously. I had to drive to Chester to get this from a man in sandals. He was just like chilling. He was like, "Oh, I tried it yesterday. I just play at home now." So, it's one of those things that 99% of the time I probably won't need this. But the 1% of the time, the 1% of the time that it is needed, it's like absolute lifesaver. It's one of those things. Do you know what I mean?
But it's also this is why I stopped using it, because now I use the virtual capo in my FM3, and it's all baked into per presets per song. For the songs that need transposing, because I got into big trouble several times where I was using the drop on a normal standard pedal board, and I would just forget to turn it off.
There is that as well, yeah.
So
it's just a transpose button, isn't it? There's so many gigs
car crash, where you're like a half step out and you come in all confident, and then you still, I didn't turn the fucking drop off.
Yeah, man.
So if by having you know, in the FM3, like if I've got specific songs that I know are transposed and dropped, then I go to a preset that's specifically for that, and it's staring me in the face on the screen, so I can remember to change it back to my main gigging preset. So that's the only.
Nope.
I think we lost your Beebs.
We lost your Beebs.
You're gone. Beebs will be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties. There we go. Oh no.
It's my battery. My battery in the. I've been using. The battery's gone. 1 second.
All right. All right.
But what I will say about this scenario, there's things to be sort of learned from this, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
In that, if you are somebody that runs gigs, or you're trying to get depths for things, I would say it is only polite to give everyone, or to give the people that you're trying to get on these gigs, all the information straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of annoying when people go, "Are you free for a gig this weekend?" And then you have to be almost like the unreasonable person saying, "Tell me more about the gig."
Yeah, what is it? Where is it? What have I got to do?
Yeah.
How much is it? Like,
yeah, is that, try to find the scope of whether you want to do it as a supplier, and there's a little bit of a feeling of like, yes, I'm free, but if you say no to the gig, it's almost like rude.
It's weird, isn't it?
Feeling maybe, but obviously it shouldn't be that way. But it can be how it feels.
Yeah, well, because if people don't tell you stuff, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm free," and then they sort of take that as a yes before you've actually said yes. It's like, "Oh great,
Sorry,
it's this," you know.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
My voice probably doesn't sound as good, but unfortunately, I hadn't charged my DJI thing, so I've been using it all day and yesterday, and didn't check the battery.
So right, now we know what it sounds like in comparison to the AirPods. So that is quite interesting. Like, if you want to know, like, how does it sound? How's that DJI thing?
Well, these are not the mic. That's a really good point. But these are not the mic on the AirPods. I'm using the AirPods to hear you guys, and then I'm using the mic on the MacBook built in, because I think the mic on these is really bad. If I did that, it would sound like
it's so bad.
So hopefully it's tolerable. It's going to be roomy and echoey, but hopefully it's still clear enough. I'll sit a bit closer. So
I'm going to save that as my room reverb preset. Time horse reverb.
Time horse reverb.
B&B.
Yeah. Nice Airbnb.
I've actually brought it with me.
Oh, amazing!
Oh, really? How come?
Well, I was going to do a video, but now I've got to. I might still do it, in fact, but I've got to give the guitar to Chubba tomorrow, so I might not be able to do it now, because that wasn't the plan. Originally, I was going to bring the guitar, do all the measurements and whatever, but then he thought it would be a better idea to leave it for the month, 6 weeks or something, so he can then get it exactly right. So yeah, don't know. Thought it would be cool to do like a little video, because I never got around to doing one of it.
That's quite a mad commitment to getting the guitar that close to what yours is. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I think it's purely because it was done at a point where I think Chubba wasn't doing as much of the S types, and Gabba was doing them. So, and now obviously Chubba's doing a lot of it. So I think he just wants to make sure it's, he's fully in memory as to like what it all is. And because rather than me trying to do the measurements and things and then whatever, so yeah, I think it's probably a good call.
Yeah, nice.
But what was I saying? Yeah, just
you were talking.
Go on.
Well, I was just going to say, did you finish talking about the pedals, the situation thing?
Yeah. I was just sort of segueing a bit into the dep.
Dan,
Well, just the dep gig etiquette. So if you're the person trying to get a dep, or you're the person offering a gig, it's really polite to yeah, sorry man, I pressed the wrong button. It's really polite to make sure everyone has all the information up front. So like, here's this gig, this is what it is, you know what I mean? Don't wait till people say yes and then start dropping Columbos.
Yeah, Columbo, yeah. That's a very
I would
interesting.
never Columbo someone. Like,
no.
Like if sometimes I tried to get a guy to oh man, I've just remembered. I don't think I've spoken about this. I got absolute retribution the other week. I can't remember if we were like podding when this was happening. Absolute retribution.
In a good
so
way?
yeah. So there was, I used to work with this singer, and it was just awful. I can't remember if I've spoken about it. It's like an acoustic duo thing.
Yeah.
And
yes. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Proper nightmare. Just like calling tunes we've never played before. Wouldn't make a set list. Sort of had this pool, like this thing of songs, and it was like anytime I didn't gig with her all the time, so it might be once a month at the most. So anytime I did a gig, it was like, right, I've got to check in with these like 60 songs again just in case. And then she'd be changing the keys then and there just before we do it. It's like, oh, I feel a bit tired today. Can we take it down a tone? Anyway.
Man, this is why I never, ever would ask anyone to dep on. It's not my job to dep on ways because it's just like that kind of craziness. So anyway, I was
taking a singer to a gig the other week, and she was talking about how the perception of like vocalists, that they have a bit of a bad rep or whatever. No. And then I was telling her these stories. So she's, she sings, she plays keys, she works with different people and stuff. And I was telling her these stories. I was like, oh, I worked with this singer once, and then this happened, and then left her warm up water in my car and just got out, and like all this stuff. And she went, oh, she isn't called. And then I'm not going to absolutely name her and shame her on here, even though I should, just for the emotional distress. But she went, oh, is it this person? And I was like, yes, yeah, it is. And she's worked with other guitar players that have worked with her, and everyone's got these same mad stories. So it's like, oh, good, it's not me. And I'm like, I felt so good. I was like, oh, all these other guys have just been like trampled through the mud as well with like ridiculous hoops of zero accountability. But yeah. So that's that.
Sorry, I'm itching like crazy. I think I've got a Hungarian bug bit me up. Can you see that on my tricep?
Yeah.
Cracker.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, so segue into guitar world news. The transposing thing on gigs, like there's this big thing, and obviously in the last sort of week, 2 weeks, whatever it ends up being, that Neural DSP, I want to like them so much, but they make it so hard. Released the Nano Cortex, new sort of like teeny, like even smaller than this kind of size device, and was preceded by some of the most bizarre marketing I think in we've ever seen. But it's really the reason I bring it up is because this Nano Cortex is like a capture player, sort of like a bit like the Kemper player, but even smaller. And it can do captures on device. It's caused quite a stir, obviously, all over YouTube, etc. But the reason I bring it up is because of it has very limited effects. But the one thing it does have is a transposed capo type thing in the front end, which in that instance, it would have been the sort of one and done, all in kind of one thing you need for that gig down, because it would have just been a teeny little thing. It's got your amp sounds, a chorus, delay, reverb, and then the transpose up front. And I was just thinking as it came out and you were going through all that stress, thinking that is the absolute perfect thing for that gig, and it's like that big.
So what
Yeah.
the Nano Cortex? I couldn't quite get through the film they made, I have to say.
It's yeah, like it was. So it was like a short. Well, it wasn't a short film. It was a feature film. They made three 20-minute, 30-minute like
Jeez.
teaser
That's
videos.
impressive, really, but it's also it's I
It's
don't it's not I don't think that's I really don't think that's aimed at me, I guess would be the way I would put it.
Yeah, and it's certainly a polite way. I'm not sure really who it's aimed at because the first when they did the usual soon, sooner, tomorrow thing,
Mm.
and so the first one, the soon video, the first one, everyone was thinking, okay, so there's this big video, it's got all this hype, it's got
Yeah.
There's could have been some rumors coming. So you sit in and you
Immediately
say,
thinking hardware I was
yeah,
or like I mean what else?
hardware,
Like, after Petrucci X, I mean what like Vi like, there's no one bigger, right?
bigger, yeah.
Like
But
in that way, or maybe John Mayer. Like
yeah, yeah. But you settle into the first sort of 2 minutes, 3 minutes of this video, and it's like it's kind of like a sort of semi-narrative sort of thing. Kind of, I don't know. It's bizarre. Obviously, you'll have seen it or not seen it,
like
but you settle into the first few minutes thinking, okay, so when they're gonna announce, they're gonna show you the thing. And you get like 25 minutes to the end, and there's no information about it at all. You just had this bizarre kind of sort of school play kind of thing happen like with video. Yeah, it's bizarre. It's truly bizarre. And then I think a lot of people by the end of that video are just scratching their heads thinking what the fuck is going on, and still none the wiser. And then they did it all
it could
again
be
the second
brilliant.
day.
It could be brilliant.
And the
Like
third day.
like the and I mean I'm saying this like I know the guys in it. You know, some of them I'd consider friends. It's
Mm.
just I'm just like this is not for me. just
Well, yeah, but like
I'm
I
sure
say,
it's
I just
brilliant.
don't know who. I mean, yeah, we're all talking about it, and maybe no
Yeah,
press
maybe
is
that,
bad
then
press, but
they are
I,
quite like that as a company, aren't they? This kind of
mm,
it's a little bit sort of disrupty 4D chessy type um, vibe.
yeah, I don't know whether you're turning off, but the thing is, you kind of don't want to antagonize your customer base like unnecessarily. So, like, if you want to be just notorious and have celebrity fame,
Is that
whatever,
how
I guess
you read
that's
it?
no press is bad press. But it's
Antagonizing the customer base.
oh, it's but no, okay. I felt antagonized by the end of that first video. Like any kind of goodwill in terms of like, okay, I'm excited now. It's just like, and no, this is like you've just wasted half an hour of my time,
I
like for this
see. So
not very interesting, not very good thing, and I've got no clue about what it is. I might want to buy your products, but I kind of don't now.
well, so maybe this is kind of the disconnect then, and this is not like really about criticizing Neural or anything like that. I think it's kind of interesting how there's like almost a bit of a schism between what you see that thing as, like an advert, and what the deal is with an advert is, okay, give me the information about your thing with like give it to me with information and an efficient form, and if it can be entertaining, then that's great. And that's the almost like the what's the word? That's the contract you have with any company who makes adverts, right? Is show me what it is,
The
do that,
big
and then
problem.
making this stuff is kind of like it's going outside of that contract. So you feel like part of the contract was not fulfilled because you watched something and you didn't actually get the information, whereas they're thinking maybe something else about what it is they're doing.
Well, I can imagine a world where that worked, where it was much shorter and there was a payoff,
Right.
or even if there was no payoff, if it was just good, if it was just the problem. I think the problem that is that it's kind of like I just don't think it's very good what they were going for, unfortunately. And I just don't know. Like I say, I just don't know. It wasn't intended for you. It wasn't intended for me. I don't know who it was intended for. I don't see it as. And the craziest thing of all is that I've been a skeptical observer of neural, and I've recently did get a quad cortex. I talked about on the podcast, and I'm against all my better judgment. So I'm saying, like, I want to, like, I don't know. It's just hard. The strangest thing of all, though, with this is that there's been a lot of backlash against the product I'm seeing. Like, a lot of people very, very disappointed that it's not that a lot of people thought it was going to be like an HX Stomp, but like a mini quad cortex, but it's not that. It's only doing captures. It doesn't do modeling, and it's got very limited effects.
Well,
And
Cortex is
people
already
are
quite
not.
mini.
Is what? Sorry.
Quad Cortex is already pretty mini.
Yeah, but this is like quarter of the size of it again.
I meant so that kind of product bridge.
No, but what I meant mini quad cortex is in terms of its power and feature set, not the physical size.
No, I know that, but I mean, like, creating a product bridge that was like a mini quad cortex. I'm not sure solves an issue for the consumer or them.
No, the issue it solves for the consumer is they want most of the experience for for less money. That's all, and obviously that's
right.
Basically what the HX Stomp is to the Helix. People were seemingly very keen for that product, not what they've actually released. The bizarre thing is that, for my position of feeling on it, is I think the marketing was god awful and it was a complete drop the ball on that. I'm actually really intrigued and super impressed by, I haven't used it yet, but by the product itself. Like that, I find it seems a much more, at least on paper, it seems a much more together, coherent product than the Quad Cortex ever was. Like
Can you explain that to me? Because I haven't actually researched it. So if anyone, why do you think that?
Well, as a product, it's doing something that I don't think anything else does at a price point that doesn't even come close. So it's solving it's the problem that the Nano Cortex is solving, is that it's an all-in-one unit that is affordable and can do captures at under £500. If someone had told you that 10, 12 years ago that you can get a Kemper that will fit in your pocket for under £500, you'd have probably thought they were insane. And so what they've done is created a Kemper that fits in your pocket, and it's £480. That to me is kind of insane, and it's an all-in-one unit that is totally, you can actually capture on the unit your stuff. Now, I don't think people actually want that. That's what it seems like from the backlash, is that people aren't bothered about that. They would much rather have the models, because maybe these people that are maybe they can't afford the bigger Quad Cortex, they don't have expensive amps to capture anyway. But I don't know, it just seems to me that it's a much more coherent, clearer, better, well executed idea of a product. And there's still got some problems, don't get me wrong. It's very lacking in effects potentially. Well, it is lacking in effects at the moment, and I don't know whether they're going to actually increase that or not. But even without that, what's it, Mike from Solar calls it, MVP, the minimum viable product, or whatever. That's kind of the kind of mission statement of I think what the product is really kind of defined and clear, and it seems, I say I've not used it, it seems kind of well executed. I think it may have just missed the mark, with judging by comments and reviews and things, and what people are actually saying. People are like, oh no, this is not what I was wanting. But I think people, what they were wanting is a Quad Cortex, but with just less power. So it still did all the modeling, it still did all the effects, but just like I said it again, an HX Stomp equivalent to what the full Helix is.
Is it going to be a product that becomes, I don't say more valuable, but obviously it's on release you're kind of stuck with, I imagine it comes with X amount of captures provided by Neural with it.
Yeah,
So it's not
And
just like an empty.
there's thousands and thousands of captures that obviously people that are doing because the captures themselves are compatible exactly the same. Apparently, the actual sound quality of the captures is exactly the same as the quad cortex.
So here's
So
my conspiracy theory. Sorry to interrupt.
Let's go.
Actually, in fact, Dave, you finished your thing. I was just looking something up, but you finished your point. Sorry to you.
yeah, so it's the same in theory. I think you should be able to take a capture that you made on the full big quad cortex and load it into your nano cortex, and it should be the same sound. It should be the same thing.
Right, okay.
There's nothing lesser about it. And again, like I think people are looking at this the wrong way. Like I'm absolutely the first person to sort of jump up and sort of criticize Neural if I think their cap's not doing something great, but I don't know. I feel like this is upside down. I mean, the upside down. Like when the quad cortex came out, everyone seemed to be queeving about it, and I was super skeptical. And now this nano cortex has come out. This has got a bit of a backlash, but I'm kind of thinking maybe it's a really good idea. Maybe it's a really good product. I don't know. Well, in theory, anyway.
So here's my conspiracy theory. Releasing it at that price point, releasing a capture type thing. Putting the capture technology, I think, is quite interesting. And again, this is pure speculation. But I think I don't know if you can capture with the Kemper player, which is like the only. No, okay. So what Neural will become with the quad cortex is basically like a giant cloud, for. If this product is successful, you'll have way more people making captures, and it will just be like a kind of giant cloud of captures.
Cloud of tone.
For your,
I
think that's what I was.
With that conspiracy.
So go on. I think that's what I was sort of getting at before, and like over time, right now, obviously the captures still exist, but it's potentially opening up the capture thing to a slightly different generation of people, and it might make you might open up a bit of a capture culture where over time there'll be all this stuff that you can get on this tiny little thing. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I think that the thing that I kind of would discount that slightly, Jake, is because people have been saying, well, you can get Tonex for less than half the price, and it's doing that all that and more. But you see, this is the thing where it doesn't make sense. Is you can go and buy a Tonex for £180, and then you've got the same thing. You've got thousands of Tonex captures that people do, and you can make Tonex captures not on the device but on your computer, and that's I think that's the kind of barrier to entry is that if you could do it on the device, fine, but it just seems like it's just not hitting that sort of that sort of sweet spot for the intent for the people that are into this stuff.
Yeah, so that product maybe, but imagine, like, let's say that the capture library, because of this thing for the quad cortex, just explodes. The sort of product synergy is quite good there, I would say. Do you see what I'm getting at?
So I do. I just sort of disagree because Tonex is already there. Tonex is way cheaper. There's way more captures. Well, I don't know actually about that. There's probably at least the same.
Yes, of course there are, but you can't do as much with the Tonex as you can with the quad cortex.
Not a full quad cortex. And yes, so, and the nano cortex does have.
The quad cortex is the mothership, and the nano cortex is the little hive that sends out and says, "Okay, get me more things for the mothership to run on." More
yes,
capture
sure,
pedals,
yeah.
more capture
But if you thought that if that was the deal, then why not just release the software so you can capture it on your computer?
Okay.
Because like Tonex, that would be the logical step.
That's a fair point. I don't know how reliable capturing on your computer is compared to capturing on the device itself.
I can tell you, I've done both. It's a pain in the arse, and this is one of the things. So with Tonex, it's very, very confusing and convoluted. Now, people may say I'm just an idiot and I don't have the right idea or gear to do it. But Tonex, I think, is certainly, there's a higher barrier to entry for capturing on a Tonex than there is with the quad cortex. It's literally just a couple of cables and you hit the buttons on on the quad Cortex.
There's
It's
no
much,
load
much
box
simpler.
in it, right? So you would still have to have a load
You
box.
still have to have a load box, or you do the microphone thing. You know, you actually put it in through.
No one does that. Come on.
But
IR, baby.
yeah, so there is an IR block, cab block IR loader on this Nano Cortex as well. So I think it's got 7 in total. So it's got a gate, this transpose thing, the virtual capo, the capture block, IR cab block, chorus, which is just one chorus effect, one delay effect and analog delay, and then one Hall reverb. And it's a fixed signal chain.
Okay. See that? I mean, it's tiny though, isn't it? Like
it's literally like, I think it's about the same width as your phone, basically, with just 2 buttons either end. It's so small.
So how is it compared to a Time Horse?
Well, that's what I mean. It's probably smaller than a Time Horse. Yeah,
higher or lower than a Time Horse.
Looking at the back, it would fit like 6 jack plugs next to each other, right? So it's essentially the size of a dual drive, like a compact dual drive.
Yeah, compact dual drive panel, like the Dual Future and Tom's Dual Fusion, or the JHS shotgun or something. It's that kind of.
Other pedals are available.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that it's 600 grams as well. It's like super, you know, it is, and it's machined and engineered, like hardware wise, it looks like, you know, it's like in keeping. I do think it's really clever in some ways. And again, some people have been complaining about this, you know, by not having a screen. It's like, you know, screens are expensive parts to, you know, so by not having the screen, they'll be able to save money there. And then maybe that's sort of funded the ability to put the capturing on the device. So people have been complaining that, oh, I don't want to have to use my phone. You're cheaping out.
I hate using my phone. I hate using.
Sure. But let me finish that.
Sorry.
You might be able to. Like the point is, like, if you don't use your phone, then the money that you save from not. Sorry, if you use your phone, the money you save from not providing a screen can fund the more expensive capture technology to do it on device. So it's a trade-off, is what I'm saying. So I agree, and I hate also using phone apps for things, even though I make apps.
Yeah, but I you know,
not those apps. This app's great. Everybody gets solo.
I've got so I've done quite a bit of work with two notes, as you know. So over the years, working on like marketing for Genome, for CabM, and for Opus. So I have a few things of theirs, and it is so cool the moment you start doing it. But I really resent using my phone. I kind of want like a isolated phone that's something different. And it's not because the technology isn't great. I'm sure a lot of consumers like doing this. Like, as in, like, not pro-level people. Like, I don't see using your phone to do these things as pro-level. Because all of a sudden you might be looking at your phone in a completely inappropriate environment. Like, so let's say, if I'm twiddling knobs on the floor, whatever person who's employed me... Sorry, constructed that really badly. But whoever has employed me knows that I'm working on creating the sound or sorting that out. If I'm suddenly getting my phone out and messing with stuff on there, it looks like I'm texting or something. That's one of the reasons why I don't like using the phone. The other thing as well is I'll start doing something and get distracted by a WhatsApp message, or some sort of random Bants meme.
It is weird. Yes. Like, I don't like. You have to use your phone for setting up like gimbals and stuff. Well, like the Ronin that I've got, and I always find it a bit like, if I've got a thing, I want to be tactile and in the thing. It's like the phone just seems a bit. I don't know. And the thing is, as well, is like your battery might die on your phone, and then you're absolutely screwed. Or
it could, if you're just coming back to the Nano Cortex just for one moment, again, can't believe I'm defending it so strongly here, but I think it's self-contained to use as a product without having to get your phone. And that's, I think, the beauty of the design and the simplicity of it. You've got these two switches and they can flip-flop between presets. So you get 4 accessible instant sounds. And then you've still got the controls for your level, treble, and middle bass instantly accessible on there. Get to your tuner. Like if you go into it knowing, okay, I've got my gig, I've got 4 sounds, I've got my 4 presets, I can switch between them. Like you don't. I can't see an instance really if I'm in that mindset and I've set it up that way where I would need to be twiddling with my phone and adjusting things routinely in a gig or whatever. I can totally. It seems to me like it's well-defined, coherent use case that you'd be sort of in that headspace and zone for using it that way.
I wasn't thinking gig so much, more like a session or rehearsal or something along those lines.
I guess, yeah. So and maybe that's one of the things about there being so few effects or whatever. There's not much to change anyway. It's not like there's that much.
It's so cheap, actually. Like looking at like knowing if it sounds as good as the other stuff, that is like epic entry level end of. Even if you chuck it at the end of a chain, that's incredible.
Yeah. Again, I don't have first-hand experience yet, but listening to demos and people that I do trust have been saying that it's I think it's one-to-one, apples to apples with an equivalent capture or the same capture on a full quad Cortex.
There is something about. I'm literally just looking through the blurb on their website. There is something about anything to do with having an app, anything to do with having that sort of thing. I don't know whether it's fair for me to say, but it is so like consumer level. It just screams consumer level at me. I know that sounds a bit like snobby, but just seeing it's like
I don't think that's even a problem.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's not a problem, but like, it's just it feels like
I think that's possibly a feature and not a bug in this case.
Which is fair. To me, it's like almost it's like the Tesla dashboard type situation, which is actually that's a bad example because that's quite cool, but this is you can put it next to your phone. Sorry, what app would it be next to on my phone? My Quad Cortex. Probably next to the Quad Cortex Cloud app, possibly next to the you know what I mean? It's just like it's next to Audible, next to Premier League Fantasy Football, the NHS app with my COVID passport on it. I'm sorry, I'm probably being a bit weird on this, but I just don't really like.
Could be nestled in between Wordle and Tinder.
As a 300 no, what is it? It's not that, sorry, it is
490 480
499 500 quid. Sorry, 500 quid as a £500 piece of equipment that's also a interface.
Yeah, all the usual stuff. So audio
that's
interface,
pretty cool. I think for me, where I'd see this being like maximally awesome is at its price point is that you could have your pedal board and then that at the end of it. And I can see there are other products, again, with 2 notes. You've got their Opus Cabo Plus, which I think kind of do the same sort of thing. The difference being is the functionality of the foot switching. So switching between amps at the end of a chain, and coming in a little bit less than the Kemper with some added gubbins. I think it's personally, I think it's a good product. I just don't want to get my phone out. It'd be a nice like one and done. I've got to set up a whole new set list on my Quad Cortex for the next little run of things I'm doing, and I'm quite looking forward to that process again. But I have to say, it's probably going to be like 1 or 2 or 3 amps, so it could just be that and a little pedal board. And
but I mean, that's it. And I think that's when you sort of zoom in on what this is actually really trying to do. It's because I think when the Quad Cortex first came out, obviously it was half baked in terms of what was promised wasn't there. But even like as a concept, it kind of didn't like it was trying to do everything, and I don't think it necessarily succeeded. And I think it's still like it's come a long, long way since time, but I still think it's still got some ways to go in terms of really sort of fulfilling on what it was actually promising. And this seems really like there, like in terms of what the concept of what the product is and should be. Like for example, I can imagine a use case right now, like it would be as small and as useful as it is. It would be like, I mean, I've got a little Focusrite interface here that I'm using for plugins and things and playing through, but I could imagine it replacing that or replacing like being able to take, the sound of my amps, that because I've started capturing now my amps and things, being able to take those like in a super, super small package.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm doing
Yeah.
a JTC thing this week. And I mean, again, I'll be vague, but I'm going in and doing some recording on guitar. Whoa.
What?
Big, yeah. What's it? Big reveal. No, I'm
Sooner.
but I'm thinking actually, I would set up the sound that I'd want, chuck that in my guitar case, and then go. At the moment, my Quad Cortex is on a thing, and with respect to two notes, they do sound great, those things, but the flexibility and the added functionality that you would get from the same, nearly the same price point, isn't it, as the Opus? How much is the two notes Opus?
That's not a capturing thing, though, is it?
No, it's not a capturing thing. But the two notes Opus is a little bit cheaper, but you can't quite do as much on it. Like it's almost half the price. But I think with the Nano Cortex, I think that'd be good. Chuck it in your bag, off you go. I can't really think of anything else apart from the Kemper Player that really comes into it. And I will say the Kemper Player does seem a little bit more, what's the word? Like functional in and of itself on a gig. Like having the 3-foot switches at the bottom, probably a little bit more in terms of what you can actually do on it. So it is it's an interesting time now. It's actually just so easy, isn't it? To just, you used to have people who would, I remember. Did you guys remember the MySpace days?
Yeah, man.
So
you'd sort of you'd sit and you'd try to record something, and you'd have to go on like forums or get Sound on Sound and work out how to record an amplifier, and it was an ordeal. You might use a Line 6 pod. That was probably the start of this whole thing. But it was an ordeal, and it would never, the way I did it anyway, sound that great. And I would spend so much time trying to get a good tone, to become a tone smith. And now it's so easy. You don't have to learn anything.
Yeah.
All of that time could be spent learning to play the instrument better.
Yeah.
Like, so
that doesn't stop us tweaking, though, I guess.
No,
doesn't stop us tweaking. Well, it's me anyway. I'm a bit of a tweaker, but
no, tweaking is different to like, can I actually get a decent sound?
True. Yeah.
So easily now, it's crazy.
Well, that's what I said, isn't it? Like, I mean, we talked about this, I think it's Dan and I on the last show. Kemper came out in 2011 or 12, so it's 13 odd years old, 13 or 14 years old. And I mean, I can't remember what it cost at the time, but like, again, if you transport yourself back 12 years and think that big toaster thing that, is thousands of, pounds, you now can get that fits in your pocket for like a fraction of the price. It's kind of mind-boggling, really.
Absolutely. And again, the Kemper is still great in my view. Actually, I'm recording album 2, and I was listening to the first album for the first time in ages. It's one of those things where you go back to it and you kind of go, is what I'm doing better or not as good now? And I was listening, I was going, that's a nice tone. That sounds like me. And so I was thinking maybe of just like recording the stuff and just reamping it with that as one of the signals I send to the mix engineer, because it just worked last time. Hopefully it works next time. I haven't really. I've been so blasé with when I do when I'm demoing up stuff now. I'm like, okay, lead guitar. I don't care really what it sounds like. It's more like, okay, that's a lead guitar sound. Does the material work architecturally? And then later on I'll be thinking more about getting the tone.
It's probably a pretty decent way to do it though.
Well, I just don't think
you can
it's good
obsess
to get
about all
too
that stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a bad idea. It doesn't matter how good the tone is, but the opposite way around.
It's kind of just seeing. It's like an architectural blueprint, really, of just kind of going, is this melody any good? Sometimes the sound is really important to impacting the moment, but for sort of structural melodic interest, I don't really need it. When I send my little demos through to you guys, I'm like, ignore the leads,
Just a
ignore the
placeholder.
leads, and yeah, literally just a placeholder. Because sometimes I'm like, I just need to hear that a lot of times before I can sign off on it. But yeah, I'm like, okay, well, we're kind of getting there. The one thing I was thinking of doing, I've got my Friedman PT20, which is, obviously, we've all got. I mean, I use Laney cabinets now with the quad Cortex. That's my rig. But if there's like a kind of sound that I have in my mind, it's like a hot Marshall, right? Not brown eye hot. And I've got a PT20, a little pedal board with drives, and I was thinking of maybe trying to reamp some of this stuff and just see how the reamp sounds off the bat. Which might be a nice little experiment to do. It won't be probably be the end of October where I get a chance to actually do that. It's a really busy couple of weeks coming up, but I was thinking of maybe giving that a go, or even bothering Mr. Quayle and saying, "Hey, could I come to yours and just reamp all the stuff with your lovely 9-amp rig or whatever you've got?"
His analog X effects.
Yeah, I mean, even the thing is though, even if you did that without a cabinet and then IR'd it, might be interesting.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time, and with all the possibilities for getting great tone. And Dan, the other week you were mentioning about potentially a Kemper type thing, and it's like,
there's just one in my local shop, and I was like, oh, it's been there forever, and it's just it's never going to get. I don't think anyone's ever going to buy it, just because
get the Kemper stage.
It's just it's such a niche little thing, and I don't actually saying that. I've met quite a few musicians in that shop, and it seems like there's a bit of a. It's so nice that there is a real like mom and pop music shop, and it's mental in there. There's just stuff everywhere. It's organised, but it's just like every time I go in, there's just like, he's doing some deal or whatever, or somebody's husband's died and he's like trying to get a load of stuff. Or there's a Splawn amp in there that used to be in Tone World.
Yeah, Tones. Yeah, I know the one you mean.
And it's like Tom signed it. I went in there. I was in there and I was like, hang on a minute. I know that scribble. There's this white Splawn. It's like he signed it. I think like Red Beach has signed it, and a lot of other Paul Reed Smith. Like
other signatures are available.
Other signatures are available. I might go in there and just sign it without him knowing. Still just get in on there. But no, it's quite nice that there is, those places do exist. I'll make an effort if I do need something, rather than just going on Amazon and getting strings. I might just go down there and be like, hang out or whatever. But anyway, the Kemper stage, right, is in there, and it's been in there forever, and I don't think it's going to shift in there. But it's like, I don't really need it other than Jake
No,
saying
you
you should
do.
well buy that.
You definitely you'll have a life upgrade that you don't even know exists. I'm saying that to you, like as in you'd be going from the Helix. Is that right?
Yeah. I'll just leave that here. It's just like,
Yeah.
But that's the other thing is like the camera stuff, because it's been out so long, there is that sort of cloud of stuff there. So it's like getting it's like coming into like a video game after it's been out for 5 years and you just get all the DLC straight away. You know what I mean? You don't have to wait. You get all the characters, all the cosmetics straight away. You want the pirate hat? You got it. You want the MAGA hat? We haven't got it.
The reason I'm saying this is because it's not so much to do with the like anything to do with the sound. I just think that the Kemper stage, functionality wise, is just an absolute gig machine.
Well, I was saying to you, it gets used on like Hamilton and stuff, and like
other
shows are available.
Yeah, so for example, the Kemper stage is used on a few things, and to me, it's the most reliable, good sounding thing that I use when I do it. I actually don't have one, and I also don't do a show with the Quad Cortex. The Quad Cortex is my thing, so I can't really do a like for like thing. I think there are actual drawbacks with the Quad Cortex with the show, as in having like 2 lines of pedals. I think with a show you really don't. You almost want it to be like so idiot proof dumb. And the Kemper stage is just, I think, very good at that. Maybe an FM9 would be good, but yeah.
Well, I did when I
they're quite expensive, aren't they? The FM9 compared to
the FM9, I would say, is considerably better than the Kemper stuff, but that's partially my bias. But then also, it's a lot more expensive.
In what way? Is sound ways or?
I mean, I prefer generally, if I had to choose between captures or modeling, or fractals modeling, I would take fractals modeling over anything. I think it's the best. Yeah, I think it's fractal is still king. But it's expensive, and you pay for that. It's more. It's probably, I don't know, twice the price of the Kemper stage.
So I'm on eBay and I'm seeing a Kemper. Well, sorry, Dan's Kemper was how much, Dan? Eight something.
It was. I think he's got it for like 895.
Right,
basically
this
900
is 1775. It's a lot more.
What's that for?
For the FM9.
The FM9 is 2000 new. It's 2000 new.
What's the Kemper stage new? What's the Kemper new, Jake?
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Get that for me, Jamie. I was looking.
Pull it up for me, Jakey.
I was looking at other stuff on eBay quickly. They sucked me in.
This is why you don't have your phone when they.
Yeah, like Pavlov's dog. I'm just like, okay, I'm looking at eBay. Let's look at things. So Kemper stage new. That's on Anderton's. Other shops available. It's 1,350.
Right. Okay.
There are some places that are doing it cheaper, second hand. It's basically $1,000. So wherever you're gonna get it, it's a good deal. I mean, it makes you wonder how much they paid for it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's this, like I said, it is a mad shop. There's some like really, it's got some like really mad Gibsons in there that I've like never really seen before. The ones that kind of look like a Les Paul, but they have sort of a Flying V headstock and like weird pickups.
Oh wow, like
loads of mad
Dean or something. No, it's not a Dean, is it? Or someone I'm thinking of.
But it's because it's the only, other than like the big PMTs and stuff like that. It's kind of like it's in quite a nice little area, just down the way. and he does get a lot of things on like commission and stuff. So he's got some like old strats in there. He's got really nice like L5 that he's selling for someone.
Woo.
No, wait, might be an L4. It's just acoustic. I think it's L4 maybe, or L7. L7. My bad. One of them anyway. But yeah, he's got some. You know, there's some really interesting stuff in there. He's got like 3 70s tellies in there that are like,
Woo.
you know.
Oh man, that's I can definitely see if I ever make actually any money, just buying like kind of interesting old quirky gear and storing it somewhere. I think that's a lot of this new nano Cortex stuff makes you pine for simpler, more characteristic. That's not the right word. Characterful things that like are unreplicatable by modern means.
Mm.
You know, you think quirky things. Like I always think that the one thing that these I've never heard like a good kind of, you know, like those the how quirky fuzz pedals can be.
Yeah,
Gates and all stuff like that. Like the chaos of fuzz pedals never seems to translate to any digital gear, because how do you?
I think it's very tough to get that right.
Yeah,
How do you
it's almost
bottle
like
that?
Impedance is
it
essential.
needs to be more than one thing. Like if I'm trying to replicate that, I'll put like I'll have to have the fuzz itself, like maybe a little bit of octave as another thing, and then like a noise gate somewhere that's being quite aggressive, but not completely mixed out, like noise floor up a bit. You can do it, but it's a faff, and it doesn't sound
Thing is,
exactly the same.
I don't even like fuzz. I've still not had my fuzz phase or my fuzz, because my fuzz hasn't come in yet.
You know, had your fuzz girl summer.
No, I don't know. It's fuzz is just one of those. Unless it's got that kind of, you know, the Jimmy kind of octave up kind of thing going on. It's, I don't know. It's fuzz is just it's kind of a whole thing now, isn't it? Like all the cool like sort of Americana bros are all about the fuzz, but
Yeah,
it's
man.
like
The
I don't
bonk
know.
machine.
To me, I just can't get on with it. With fuzz, it's just not a tone that works for me yet. But
No, it's because it's not like.
I'm often late to the party with most
No,
things.
but
So
I know
yeah,
what
tenure.
your playing is not about those sort of textures. You know what I mean? It's kind of about like clarity and sort of sending a signal as clearly and as beautifully as possible into the world. I think some of
Very
these
nice words.
no, but you know what I'm saying. Like you're about your playing is about clarity, and fuzz is distinctly not that. Like, and I wouldn't be playing like a big sort of, you know, pure techniques sort of, you know, legato line through a fuzz pedal. It's more gestural, isn't it? As a
Yeah.
sound.
I think that's not what I think there's I don't know there's like it's so much gain to fuzz. Like but it's not gain. It's a different
Yeah.
thing, isn't it? It's like I don't know, just aesthetically, it just doesn't it just doesn't do it for me yet. But you know, my tastes changed so much over the decades that, you know, maybe I'll be all into fuzz in my 50s, my fuzzy 50s.
Your fuzzy 50s. So I'm just looking. There's an AX8 on eBay now for £768. So an AX8 is probably sounding as good as the Kemper, I would say.
I think you can. Yes, it's probably. I don't know. Again, it's not apples to apples because it's different technologies. But like,
oh, that's also in the US. So I just clicked on it and it's told me it's in the US.
The AX8 is also a horrendous interface. It's very old-fashioned now. Like XFX2, I would not go back that far now. Fractal gets some shit given it to it over its complicated user interface on the modern stuff, but I disagree. I think the FM9, the XFX3, like I think that's given how powerful they are as units, I think it's as good an interface as you could have, given the way that they've implemented it on device. But yeah, going back a generation to the AX8 and the XFX2, then yeah, using the menus on device for that is absolute nightmare pain. You can't. I wouldn't recommend that.
How many episodes do you reckon we've done talking about digital modeling gear?
I don't know, maybe
probably a bit of a
10,
recurring-
20.
I think we're on our way to 20.
Bit of a
Probably around
recurring
But
character.
it does seem to be like.
You know,
I can tell you far less than the number of videos John Cordy's made on the HX Stomp.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, if this was incredibly niche reference, if this was Only Fools and Horses, this subject would be like Mickey Pierce.
Sorry, don't get it.
Super niche. Hang on. If this was Friends, it would be Janice.
Oh, I see.
There we go.
Other
sitcoms are available.
Yeah.
What on? I'm just. Oh God, this is so ridiculous. We're like doing an episode. I'm just on eBay. I'm looking at the FM3. What is FastLink or FazLink?
It's just it's to connect up via XLR cable, like the foot controllers.
Also, like an extra, like the extra sort of 6-button controller you can get with it.
Yeah, so their ecosystem has like the FC6 and the FC12, and you can hook up to 2 extra. So in addition to your main Fractal device, you can hook up to an additional 2 foot controllers. So that could be an FC6, an FC12, and both together or whatever it is. So you could have you could have like an FC30. No, what would be the ultimate you could have? You could have an FM9 and then 2 FC12s attached to it. Yeah, so that would be
That's a lot of Gee, that's quite a lot. That's not getting in my in the front of my gig bag. See, I've got a friend.
Maybe for the next Jeff Beck tour, you can have like an F42 turbo edition.
So, like my friend Adam, you know Adam Bourne, Beebs.
Oh, I spoke to Adam on Instagram recently. Yeah.
Right. So my friend Adam's got like all of them. So he's got an
all the
FM9,
models.
Cortex, Kemper.
Yeah, we were chatting about it. Yeah.
It's like that. That's pretty luxury. But
although to be fair, I'm getting that way myself now. I've got like not all of them, but one from each of the kind of big players.
I think it's kind of interesting that obviously that is from his perspective, he's got a very busy gigging schedule, doing stuff. I think last time I spoke to him, but again it might have changed, he was leaning towards Cortex because it was just so fast to change things, and that was the main thing, that was the appeal. Everything else I think is pretty much parity.
Is it going to get to the point where it's like keyboard players in the sort of 80s and 90s, where it's like, oh, they all sort of do the same thing, but I prefer the Roland piano sound to the Yamaha. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like we're basically getting to the point where keys players were, X amount of years ago. It's going to get to the point where they all kind of do the same thing, but do you prefer, that slight thing over this?
It's like I just know my way around this ecosystem quickly. I can bosh, I'm there.
Yeah, it's like I'll go to Asda because I know where everything is. Going to Morrison's, I'm lost.
Oh, tell me about it.
Guys, I think we may have to start winding down anyway, because I think Dan's on about getting an early night, and I could do with it as well. But just a question in the chat, Jake, asking about Ibanez warranty. Have you had any experience with Ibanez warranty?
Ibanez warranty repair. I have not had.
I think Headstock do that though, don't they? Is it Headstock?
I don't know. I've never had to. So it's kind of weird, like repairing guitars. I can't think of a single issue I've ever had where I'd have to repair something.
That's not techie fixable.
Yeah, maybe so things that can go wrong with guitars, unless it's like a fault with the thing, there's a clear manufacturing issue, like a neck warped, or sort of like maybe a high fret or a
But even that stuff, like a luthier tech would probably sort it out, wouldn't they? You wouldn't necessarily.
And I think
like,
by that point you might
depends if it's in warranty, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, a warranty repair is, I don't know. I would probably. Thing is, I would probably take it even if it was possible to do a warranty repair. I'd probably take it to a tech anyway.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's having the luxury of doing that if it's in what if you don't spend the money wherever. I can understand why somebody might want to do it.
Because you go like, okay, well, this is what I want to do, and let's set it up, and let's just
Plus, you might be going to a guy that you trust and know. That's
exactly
because you have that relationship when you
So let's say
with certain.
Maybe that's like a bit of a.
It's like why I come over here for my bougie setups.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it's like
back to the mothership,
like a little pro thing. And I say that with like inverted commas, but if I were to send something to repair, like I don't know who's in case you repaired it and now it's sent back and the setup's like changed or it's not what I'm used to. I don't know. Like it really depends on the very, very specific issue that you've got with it. But if just looking at the thing here, so Brennan Z Smith says that the techs are quoting quite a lot of money. I guess you're gonna have to do that. And Matt at Dartwood Construction says, "Is it Ghostbusters 2?"
Oh, is that Matt? Time Horse Matt?
Yes. There it is.
Hey Matt, thanks again. My intention was to. I know you're going to go back to listen to what we're talking about. My intention was to do a video of the Time Horse under the Time Horse while I'm here. I might not be able to do it this time now, strangely, because you'll hear when you go back in time and and follow the narrative. But yeah, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I think this situation that it sounds like, in that you've just spent money on this guitar and it's not correct. I think at that stage I'll be like, okay, I paid this much and it's arrived and it's not in playable condition. I think I would just get in touch with the warranty thing, I guess.
That would be the only option, really. It sounds like it's a serious, like, wood type situation.
Because there's almost like, it's not an unwritten
the other thing
but like you buy a guitar and like sometimes you get a guitar and you might want to set it up how you like it, or you might it might need a little tweak here and there anyway. That's somewhat as expected, but a guitar not being mechanically playable, just as a bad batch or whatever, is a bit different.
Yeah. But the thing with Ibanez as well, it could be, is like the proprietary sort of hardware things that could get expensive. I could see that being an issue where you would you are kind of you're forced into, because if you want an Edge Pro, whatever kind of parts for the non-standard kind of things, then that could be something that you'd have to go to source for.
Yeah, it sounds a bit unlucky. Touch wood, I'd never actually deal with any of that. Like with any company.
I've got an interesting story regarding this, but I'll tell you off stream.
Okay.
Nothing else to do with that.
Let's wrap it up. Let's get on to this.
So yeah, I need to do some mastering. Just raise the volume on the audio upload. So Guitar Parrot, yeah, what we've been doing is just taking the raw feed from the stream and uploading it. But if people are, well, I know people are still listening because that's where most of the audience is on the audio, so on the feed still. So I'll make sure that's a little bit more bumped up. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed I was quite quiet on the last one, but I think I had some. I had a couple of filters on my mic on OBS, like a bit of noise suppression, and I might have had a limiter. I'm hoping I'll come out louder this week because I was quite a lot lower than you on the last one. But it's hard. the thing of streaming, man, is you can't really. It's difficult to tell from this side of the, the side of the glass, the side of the tech.
Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it?
It's working so far.
But we're doing it.
We'll nail our system. We'll get our. Well,
It's like it might be quiet on Spotify and might give you a heart attack when Google Maps starts telling you which way to go. But would you rather that or we don't do a pod?
Yeah. What do you
But I will do my best. I'll do my best to kind of normalize it and do it a little bit at least. So the point is, we're turning up ass and seeds, mouth to mic.
Oh.
Never go mouth to mic.
Well,
if you made it this far, comment mouth to mic
in the comments. When Solo App Mike listens to this, he's gonna not you, Mike. Right, let's wind it down. And
yeah, cheers, guys. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, good
so
stuff.
Next time, I guess you will have had a full frontal experience with the new neural thing, then, Beebs. So
Potentially, I cancelled my order because I didn't get it. I didn't get it in time to bring. Because I was going to get it to bring it out here, but then I cancelled it. So I might pick one up on the way back from the airport. I haven't decided yet. So maybe I will do anyway, just for Poddington follow up and get some video content out of it.
Poddington Beebs.
Yeah, so I may do, may not.
Well, we will see. We will see. Or worst case, we'll get Cordy on.
Yeah, I keep asking him, saying
get ourselves good and cancelled.
Yeah, well, he's a little bit more better behaved these days. I think he's getting up there with his 130k subscribers now. He's
big time now. He ain't got time for us.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. He keeps blowing me off to go and hang with the big YouTube stars now. Yeah, cool. Okay, I'll see if I can get him on. That might be a good episode to because he has had experience with it now, and similarly, I think we're chatting with this some DMs about it, and I think he's got a similar kind of take. He's certainly not been shy of his public criticisms of Neural. But yeah, anyways, I think my overall feeling is I think that they've actually done something good with this one. And I'm excited to kind of actually try it for myself and maybe try and gig it. Maybe that'd be interesting. Nice one.
Sweet.
Cheers, guys.
Jake, you look like you're about to go and do some practice.
Maybe.
You should be on the inside cover of like a chord dictionary book. Do like a really stretchy chord so people know you're legit.
I haven't done any practice for ages.
There you go.
Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Brennan. Thanks, everyone in the chat. I'm glad to be back.
Is this still new? I think we're like peak viewers. It's not loads, but because this is a new thing, I do keep a little eye, I can see. So people hanging out here, it'll obviously make the thing more interactive and much more betterer.
I wonder if if we keep doing it, like the pod feed stats will come down and these will come up. It'll be interesting to
don't let that happen. If you hear, go away and listen to it again.
As well, yeah, listen to it again. Oh well, it's a view's a viewer, listen to listen, isn't it? If overall the numbers stay the same at least, or keep growing, that's the main thing. But
exactly,
yeah. But it's fun. I'm enjoying doing it again. I've obviously missed chatting to you guys and on the regular and this form anyway. I know we're slacking a lot, but it's great. And hopefully we have a meet space at some point too.
Meet space environment. Well, not going to make any promises when the next one is. Probably, maybe next week at some point. Like, we haven't seen Tom for a while. He's when's he back?
He's away. He's just on. He's got this. It's a massive. I think it's got bigger. It's this Laney World Tour thing. It's the Laney Loud Pedal thing. I think it's going to take him up to most back end of the year, like to January.
Nuts! Like and the last time
it's crazy.
He was doing Woodshed.
Yeah, so he's
just on.
He's all over the
non-stop.
place at the moment. It's really so. I think the last thing he did like this was 2018 with the AZ launch when they did the world tour for the Ibanez thing. But so it's been some time since he's done a big. But yeah, I know he's off to. Well, I'm going to say exactly where it's to him to say, but yeah, it's a big tour that him and Martin are doing now. So I think it's going to take up the bulk of the back end of the year. So not sure if he's going to.
Well, we
have
might be
time
able
to
to
dropping
do a
in.
similar thing. Might be able to just
Yeah,
catch him
maybe.
him in a
hopefully
hotel
we'll-
room somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it might be something to arrange actually. Like maybe him and Martin around one laptop.
That'd be cool.
2 guys,
It's been
one
a while
laptop.
Yeah. Nice one. Thanks,
Right.
guys. Thanks everyone for listening, watching, and we'll see you next week.